Hello there and a very good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on TV1. Today is the 22nd of May 2023. Bringing you the news, I am Jaima Ratnaika for the News First team. Here are your headlines for tonight. China's Sinopec enters Sri Lanka's retail fuel market with 200 filling stations. Operations to commence within 45 days. Petition filed by 39 SLPP politicos against 18 people, including General Shavindra, over May 9th violence. Withdrawn. Partly Champika launches new political party. Minister Tiran Alas says no change in ministries. Will the PUCSL chief, who stood by the people, be sent home via a parliament proposal? Protest in Anuradhapura demanding a solution to the human-elephant conflict. New office bearers of Sri Lanka cricket assume duties. On to tonight's top story. Sri Lanka signed the contract agreement with China's Sinopec to secure fuel supply at the President's office this morning.
In a significant move to address Sri Lanka's fuel supply challenges, a contract agreement was signed with Sinopec, a leading international petroleum company. In response to the ongoing foreign exchange crisis in Sri Lanka, the Ministry of Power and Energy has taken this decisive action to ensure an uninterrupted fuel supply to consumers. As per the agreement, Sinopec will be allowed to import, store, distribute and sell petroleum products in Sri Lanka for a period of 20 years. Sinopec will be provided with 150 filling stations operated by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, while the Chinese firm is also allowed to open 50 filling stations of its own. The President's media division mentioned the ability to secure foreign exchange requirements without depending on local banks is one of the main conditions imposed on new suppliers entering the market. Accordingly, at least during the initial one-year operation period, Sinopec must use its own funds for the procurement of fuel through foreign resources. Sinopec, along with affiliated companies, is set to commence operations in Sri Lanka within 45 days following the issuance of the license.
United Petroleum Private Limited Australia and RM Parks USA, in collaboration with Shell PLC, were also given permission to enter Sri Lanka's fuel retail market. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is due to provide 300 filling stations to these two companies, while permission has also been granted to establish 100 new filling stations. The Lanka Indian Oil Company operates 216 filling stations in Sri Lanka at present, and approval was granted last year for Lanka IOC to establish 50 new filling stations.
A Chinese national suspected of having used a forged passport in an attempt to enter Sri Lanka was said to be deported, and reports suggest that he was later allowed to enter the country via the Katunayake airport. On the 18th of May 2023, two Chinese nationals and an Egyptian had arrived in Sri Lanka from Dubai, and one of the Chinese men had produced a Guinea passport at the Katunayake airport. Immigration and immigration officers at the BIA had denied entry to the Chinese national upon deciding that the passport he produced was forged. News First airport correspondent said that thereafter the Chinese national and his colleagues had behaved in an unruly manner. It was then that State Minister Arundhika Fernando had intervened with the incident. On the 19th of May 2023, the State Minister had addressed a letter to the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration, informing that the Chinese national had arrived in Sri Lanka to discuss a housing project that will be launched under his ministry. The State Minister had requested that the Chinese man be allowed to enter Sri Lanka upon considering his Chinese passport.
The
Chinese company based in Sri Lanka said that he is a genuine person and he possesses a Chinese passport. He can enter Sri Lanka using the Chinese passport at any given time. They said that they will be responsible with regard to any punishment imposed on him or on the decision to deport him. Therefore, I spoke to the Controller of Immigration and Immigration. I asked if it is possible to allow him to enter the country using the Chinese passport. I addressed the letter on his advice and did not influence him in any way.
The Department of Immigration and Immigration comes under the Ministry of Public Security, and the matter was raised with Minister Tiran Alas.
We can't say Minister Arundhika Fernando intervened and cleared the national. Like what I said, So it is up to us and it is up to the department to do the right thing. So I also feel there is a small problem in releasing that person. So that is why I have given instructions to take him in first and then check with the Chinese embassy, get all the details and to take a decision.
State Minister Arundhika Fernando said that later he was made aware that a Chinese national cannot use two passports.
When inquiring about it, I understood that a Chinese national cannot be in possession of two passports. There is legal ground and it is an offence. However, due to issues with the West, some companies that invest in other countries said that citizenship was awarded and thus a passport was issued. With regard to the person in Sri Lanka, they have put forward proposals as well. Yes, an investigation will take place, not on the state minister, but for the officials within the department who aided this. Any minister, state minister or the media can speak to our officials. However, we as the ministry and the department must do the right thing. An investigation will take place.
The Department of Immigration and Immigration recorded a statement from the Chinese national in question and commenced an investigation. Public Security Minister Tiranala said that necessary measures will be taken to crack down on drugs and the underworld.
It is not recently, it has been happening for some time, all these shooting incidents, and so that is why we are making a special effort to combat the drug menace and the underworld. So that is why we are doing special operations. We are trying to take everyone in. Our intelligence divisions have identified people who are involved in drugs, who are the underworld kingpins, and that is so. I mean, we will do everything possible to bring them in.
I
have not been informed of such a thing. However, there are powerful people who would try to remove us. I do not think about it. There are some who are jealous and there are some who wish to have this ministry. As long as I am here, I will do what I can. When I cannot, I will leave. I have no issue with that. I will not inquire into the plans of others. The president will not leave room for that. Even if people tell tales, I do not think anything like that will happen.
ඔය කවුරු ගිහිල්ලා මොන හරි කේලම් කියලා ඒව කරන්න හැදුවට ඒවට ඉතින් ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා මට විශ්වාසයි.
Journalists also questioned the minister on Pastor Jerome Fernando.
කවුරු හරි වැරද්දක් කළා sorry කිව්වොත් එහෙම අපිට පරීක්ෂණ අතහැරලා දාන්න බෑ. ඒක වෙලත් නැහැ.
Just because someone apologizes after committing an offense, we cannot abandon the inquiry. It has never happened before and will not happen in the future. The CID has received complaints. There are other complaints about him as well. All complaints will be investigated by the CID. When the person comes via the airport, he will be handed over to the CID and upon recording statements, they will decide if the matter should be moved to court or for the person to be released.
නැත්තම් මෙයාව ගෙදර අරිනවද? ඒක CID එකේ වැඩක්.
The petition filed by 39 MPs against 18 parties, including Secretary of Defence, retired General Kamal Gunaratne, then Army Commander General Shavendra Silva and Inspector General of Police C.D. Vikramaratne, calling for an immediate investigation into the torching of houses during the 2022 May 9th violence, was withdrawn today.
The petition filed by 39 Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna MPs, including Bandula Gunawardana, Gamini Lokuge, Janaka Bandara Tennakon, Prasanna Ranatunga, Prasanna Ranaveera, Siripala Gamlat, S.M. Chandrasena, Shehan Semasinghe, Rohita Abe Gunawardana, Kokila Gunawardana and Sahan Pradeep was taken up for consideration once again before the Court of Appeal. A Deputy Solicitor General appearing for the Public Security Minister, when the matter was called up in the Court of Appeal, said that the Minister had informed that a proper investigation will take place into the incidents. President's Counsel Sanjeeva Jayawardena, appearing for the petitioners, noted that the submissions were sufficient and thus sought the permission of the court to withdraw the petition. Chief of Defence Staff Shavendra Silva was named as a respondent in the petition, and President's Counsel Faiz Mustafa, appearing for the former Army Commander, opposed the request. However, President of the Court of Appeal Nisanka Bandula Karunaratne and Justice A. Marikar granted permission to withdraw the application.
MP Vimal Veeravansa commented on the events that transpired on the 9th of May 2022 at an event in Kalutara.
I did not write about what happened inside the tents. If I did, it would be an adults-only publication. I did not mention anything about that. I showed the grand picture via this book and not to discomfort anyone. I did not want to hurt the people who join the struggle. If we can see the bigger picture, a society that can understand it will be able to save this country.
ඔබතුමා අරගලයේ තුල අභ්‍යන්තරයේ හිටියේ නෑනේ. නෑ මම ඒකේ කූඩුව තුල සිද්ධ වෙච්ච දේවල් කතා කරේ නැත්තේ ඒක. අභ්‍යන්තරයේ තුල අපි හිටියා. වෙච්ච සාකච්ඡා ඒ දුසින් අපි දන්නවා. අපි අරගලයේ ඇතුළත අරගලයේ හරි පැත්ත අරගෙන යන අපි අරගලයේ ඇතුළත අරගලයක් කරා. ඔබතුමා අභ්‍යන්තරයේ ඉඳලා හරියට විනිවිද දකින්න නැතුව එළියේ ඉඳලා සමස්ත අරගලයටම ගහන්න එපා. අපි කියන්නේ ඔබට කියන බන්ද සමස්ත අරගලයට කියන ඔබතුමා කියන මූලික මුලින් කොළඹදී විච්ච දැන් අර රැට්ටට නොදුනොත් ලක්ෂ 50ක් දිනුමට වගේ කොට ඉන්නකෝ මේ අරගලේ රැට්ටලා බැට්ටලා අර ඉන්න කවුද ආපුවර නළු නිලියෝ ඒගොල්ලෝ අරගලේ හිටුව නළුයි නිලියෝ විතරයි අවංකවම හදවත් තියෙන මිනිස්සු හිටියා අපි නෑ කියන්නේ හරිද ඒක පිළිගන්නවා ඒ සත්‍යයෙන් හිටපු මිනිස්සු හිටියා අවසානයේ නෑ කියන්නේ ඔයා එකකින් එක්කනේ අපි කියන්නේ එතන හිටපු ඔක්කොම අරගලේ පටන් ගන්නකොට අරගලේට ගෙරුවා නායකයෝ නෑ කිව්වා අවකෝ නායකයෝ නැති අරගලේ යන්නේ එපාගද ඇයි අන්තිමට රනිල්ට සමහරවිට කියනවනේ මැච් එක අපි ගහුවා හැබැයි කප් එක රනිල්ට කියන්නේ අන්තිමට ප්‍රතිඵලය බලන්න දැන් ප්‍රතිඵලය හරිය ප්‍රතිඵලය පොරොන්දුන අන්තිමට ගන්න ආවනේ හැබැයි අරගෙන කරුවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගහන්න නෙමෙයි ඒක ඉතින් ඔයත් දන්නේ මාත් දන්නේ දැන් ඔබතුමා කියන මෙතන කුමන්ත්‍රණය තිබ්බා කියලා අපි පැහැදිලිව කියනවා CIA කුමන්ත්‍රණ තියෙන්නේ නැති සෑම දේශපාලන ලෝකෙම කුමන්ත්‍රණ සිද්ධ වෙනවා. හැබැයි ජනතාවට මෙරට ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන්නේ ජීවත් වෙන්න ප්‍රශ්න. ඒකට අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ දේශපාලන විසඳුම. ආර්ථික ප්‍රශ්න දේශපාලන විසඳුමක් තමයි. ඔබතුමාලා කාලයක් තිස්සේ දේශපාලනය කරගෙන එනවා. හැබැයි විවේචන තියෙනවා. ජනතාවට පැහැදිලිව කියන්න ඔබතුමාලා පැහැදිලි වැඩපිළිවෙල රට අරමුණට ගෙනියන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක කියන්නේ නැතුව එහෙම මේක දේශපාලන දෝලණය වෙලා ජනතාව අතරමං වෙනකොට විවේචනය කරන්න එපා මේවා කුමන්ත්‍රණය. ඒක ජනතාව නැගිටිනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ජනතාව නැගිටිනවා කොහොමනේ? දැන් අපි අපිට වේදනාවක් තියෙනවා. අපි අවංගව හදවතින් හිටියා. අපි දන්නවා. හරිද? අම්මා හදවතින් හිටියා. හරිද? එතකොට ඔයාලට සපෝට් එකක් දුන්නානේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මයිනකෝ ගෝටක් ගෝනේ පටන් ගන්න කතාව අහන්න. එතකොට පොඩක් ඉස්සර. හරි මේක පොඩක් අපිට ටයිටල් දෙන්න කතා කරන්නේ. එහෙම කතා කරන්නේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ ආවද කරගන්නේ. අරගන්න නැතුව. රනිල්ට ගහලා එලෙව්වනම් ඉවරයිනේ. රනිල්ට ගහන්න ඕන ආයෙත්.
The JVP responded to Vimal Veeravansa's comments.
අපි ඇත්තටම විහිළු කරන්නේ නැහැ. ජනතාව තුන විහිළු සපයන්නේ.
We are not joking. We don't provide the people with jokes. Now Veeravansa was the one who kneeled to the American citizen and was their slave. Was the CIA asleep when the US citizen Gotabaya Rajapaksa became the president and when Basil Rajapaksa tried to change the constitution?
ඇමරිකන් පුරවැසිකම් අත් නොහර ව්‍යවස්ථාව වෙනස් කරනකොට ඇමරිකාවේ CIA බුදියගෙන හිටියා. ඒ නිසා ඇත්තටම වීරවංශලා කියන්නේ දේශපාලන පාන් කඩ.
A new political party led by parliamentarian Patali Champika Ranavaka was announced today. The event was held at the auditorium of the National Youth Services Council in Maharagama this evening. The new party, named the Eksat Janaraja Peramuna, translated to United Republic Front, was unveiled in the line with Sri Lanka's Republic Day, which is today. The objective of the party is highlighted as creating economic, diplomatic and democratic freedom as well as national unity and integration based on a practical program to build the country through the collective efforts of the people. Patali Champika Ranavaka will be the leader of the new party, while specialist Dr. Ajit Amarasinghe has been appointed as the chairman. Bandula Chandrasekhara has been named the chief secretary of the party and engineer Sumedha Ratnayaka will function as its national organizer.
2006 මාවිල්ලාරු සිද්ධිය ආපු වෙලාවේ බොහෝ දෙනෙක්ගේ දෙපා වෙවුලද්දි
In 2006, when the Marvil Aru issue happened and when certain people were trembling in fear, our group started the fight. We saw that as an important milestone in this country. That is in the past, so it is now pointless debating it. But we managed to save so many lives. Our country was spared. We need to forget the past. There are people here who contributed to establish the fuel pipeline that has been transferred from one to another for 70 years. We also have engineers who constructed the port city in 26 months, when even the president of the country said it would result in the city of Colombo sinking. We will fearlessly state that we have made a team that will recover Sri Lanka from bankruptcy within 3 years. Ridding a country of corruption does not mean it will develop. We need to establish a strategy to create wealth, and it must be progressive. That is what the United Republic Front and the forces supporting it aim to achieve. We need to forget the past. This party is open to anyone who believes in the fundamentals of democracy, be it someone who supported the LTTE or fought for the JVP. We have no hatred towards anyone.
සියලු දෙනාට විවෘතයි කියන එක අපි බොහොම වගකීමෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා මිත්‍රයෝ. අපිට කිසි කෙනෙක් ගැන එවැනි වෛරයක් දැන් නැහැ.
The United People's Freedom Alliance organised a Republic Day celebration at the BMICH. The independence gained in 1948 was known as a Dominion independence, as the Queen of England remained the head of state and a governor was appointed to represent the monarch. The Privy Council had the highest authority over legal matters in Sri Lanka. However, on a day like today in 1972, Sri Lanka came out of its Dominion state and became a republic, with Sirimavo Bandaranaike being sworn in as the Prime Minister according to the Republican Constitution passed by the United Front government at the time.
72 විවස්ථාවෙන් පස්සේ මේ රටේ සම්මත වෙච්ච ඊටාම ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ජනතාවාදී පනත තමයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ.
The 19th Amendment to the Constitution is the most democratic act passed in this country after the 1972 Constitution. However, the 19th Amendment was politicized and lost its value. We need another 1972 for the future. Politicians don't need power. They need intelligence. It is discussed within the society. I was a president. My opponents may ask if I did not have the intelligence when I held office. I was intelligent. Because of issues raised by my opponents and internal political conflicts, I left the government in 2014 and became the common candidate to contest for presidency and ensure democracy similar to the 1972 Constitution. Those who raised their voices to elect me as president and ensure democracy in this country at the time remained silent when the 20th and the 21st Amendments were introduced after 2019. Therefore, today democracy is shattered in the country and it is in a worse situation than 1978. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party and other leftist parties that are present here should form a united front in the future. We must form our own united force. I will argue with anyone that I was able to garner the support of the international community as the leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party after former Prime Minister Bandaranaike. Leaders from around the world admired me. I signed hundreds of agreements for the betterment of this country. Where are those agreements today? Unfortunately, our government changed. Bombs exploded and I am the one who is being blamed for it. The bombers and the attackers are in prison.
More news follows after the short commercial break. Stay tuned.
Insurance කොයිද තියෙන්නේ? සුපර්මාකට් එකෙන් වගේ තෝරලා බේරලා ගැලපෙන ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එක අරගන්න නම් මේ තියෙන ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් සුපර්මාකට් එක.
ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක් ගන්නවා නම් ඉන්ෂුවර් එකට කතා කරන්න. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් සුපර්මාකට් එක insureme.lk.
Now we have a brain drain. We are competing with other countries. Let's be real.
If we look at the framework of what needs to be done, we need to make it easier for people to stay, harder to leave, and replace talent.
Sri Lanka is basically then loses the possibility of having creative, intelligent, efficient people to run the system.
We can move away with the negative brand that we have as a country that sends women to work.
We need to make it more easier for people to go in and out.
Face the Nation, Wednesday nights at 9:30 on TV1.
Welcome back to the news. The proposal submitted to Parliament against the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka is to be taken up for debate in Parliament on Wednesday. Multiple opposition parties have informed that they will stand against this proposal. However, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna said that they will be supporting the proposal.
Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, Janaka Ratnayaka, who stated that electricity tariff hike was unjust on the citizens, continues to claim that the tariffs can be reduced by 27%. Although the chairman tried to provide electricity to the advanced level students continuously, he was unable to do so, and due to these incidents, disagreements arose between him and Minister Kanchana Wijesekara. Currently, a charge sheet has been presented against the chairman and it is scheduled to be tabled in Parliament on Wednesday. Will the proposal get the support of 113 MPs in Parliament? This is the stance of the Podu Jana Peramuna.
එතුමා දිගින් දිගටම කටයුතු කරේ රට ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන්න.
A proposal has been brought in Parliament to see if he continued to work to bring the country forward, to facilitate the government and to become a person who stands up for the people. In this proposal, it is clear for the people on the manner he did it. So, if he had not acted independently, the Parliament has the right to remove him according to the democratic system. Therefore, the relevant democratic process commenced under the existing legal framework. As a party that respects democracy, we are pleased with it.
වාදී ක්‍රමවේදය අනුව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉතින් ඒක නිසියාකාරයෙන් ඒ ආකාරයට රටේ පවතින නීතිය තුලින් ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ක්‍රමවේදය තුලින් ඒ සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු සිදු කිරීම මේ වන විට ආරම්භ කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි ඒ ගැන ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය අගය කරන පක්ෂයක් හැටියට සතුටු වෙනවා.
The opposition leader stressed on the need to defeat the resolution against the PUCSL chairman.
අපි බොහොම පැහැදිලිව විපක්ෂයක් හැටියට
As the opposition, we will defeat the motion put forward by the government by taking the side of the people. We decided to defeat that resolution.
යෝජනාව පරාජය කරන්නට අපි කටයුතු කරනවා. අපි විපක්ෂයක් හැටියට අද තීන්දුව කරා ඒක පරාජය කරන්න.
The government is introducing a motion to dismiss from his post Mr. Janaka Ratnayaka, Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. All members of Parliament will have to decide how they are going to vote on this resolution. We have made a very clear decision to oppose this resolution. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka is an independent commission. But my own candid view is that there are no independent commissions in this country at all today. The executive keeps interfering in the discharge of their functions. Now, this has become the dismal fate of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. So we are against that. Mr. Janaka Ratnayaka has had the courage, the fortitude, he has had a backbone to stand for the interests of the people of our country. And it is a firm and considered view that it is the responsibility of the people's representatives sitting in Parliament to stand up for a courageous official who has acted in that manner. For members of Parliament to vote for his expulsion and then to justify their decision to the long-suffering public who are now asked to pay exorbitant bills, and if they can't pay those bills, to manage without electricity. So people who support this motion in Parliament will have to explain the rationale, the reasons why they did it. And we think that it will be very difficult for them to do so.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party maintains a separate view.
We must oppose the resolution to remove Janaka Ratnayaka as he opposed attempts to burden the people. Therefore, we will oppose it. We will witness on the 24th the number of Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna parliamentarians who want to further burden the people. We will also see who will support the efforts to ease the burden from the people.
Vasudeva Nanayakkara, who represents the Uttara Lanka Sabhagaya, expressed the following.
පොදු ජනතාවගේ අයිතිය වෙනුවෙන් ඔවුන් ගසා කෑමට විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය
The measures taken by him to end the looting by the CEB had hurt the government. The government tried to make the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka its own tool. Janaka Ratnayaka protected the independence of the commission and fulfilled his duties for the people. His role will be debated for 2 days in Parliament. We will be able to expose the conduct of the government.
ඒ අයගේ 113 තිබුණත් නැතත් අපට ලෝකයට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්.
The proposal presented by the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies under the heading, quote, Proposal to remove the autocratic chairman of the Public Utilities Commission, unquote, will be taken up for debate on Wednesday the 24th. According to the Act, if such a proposal is presented, it should include the allegations made by the subject minister against a relevant member and also facts the relevant member has presented against such allegations. The subject minister has presented a 2-page document against the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, which includes 5 allegations. In reply, the chairman has drafted a 25-page document refuting the allegations. One fact mentioned in the proposal presented by the subject minister is the Court of Appeal has delivered an order on the 10th of February over the acts and behaviour of the chairman. The minister goes on to claim that according to the judgment, the chairman has been found guilty under Article 7A5 of the Public Utilities Commission Act. However, the Court of Appeal has not delivered such an order on the chairman of the PUCSL on the 10th of February. What did occur on the 10th of February was the Court of Appeal rejecting a petition filed by the PUCSL requesting the Court of Appeal to issue an order to the CEB to provide a continuous supply of electricity during the GCE A-level exam period. Delivering the verdict, the Court of Appeal has made adverse comments on the chairman of the PUCSL. The chairman has filed an appeal with the Supreme Court requesting those comments be rectified. Hence, the proposal presented by the subject minister also includes a court case which is to be heard in the future. Therefore, debating such a controversial proposal at a time when not only the minister but also the Constitutional Council has acted in violation of the Public Utilities Commission Act by appointing a member to the commission only goes to depict the true intention behind this scenario.
The United National Party launched a program to train all its social media activists across all districts.
The first program to train UNP social media activists was held in Galle over the weekend. The program, which is being held under the supervision of the deputy leader of the UNP, Ruwan Wijewardena, was chaired by national organizer of the party, Sagala Ratnayaka. Following the 2.5-day training, participants will be appointed as United National Party social media activists.
We only have one goal. It is to bring the country to the right path once again and to create an environment for the people to live. Taking that program to the people is in your hands. It is your duty to spread the word regarding the measures that we take. This gathering is a huge support for us, but we need to build a good network that spreads to all corners of the country. You may not be connected to each other directly, but there needs to be some connection. That coordination is very important, and we have started it from Sirikotha.
Protests were staged in several areas today demanding solutions for the human-elephant conflict.
Residents of several villages which belong to the Madhavachya Divisional Secretariat marched in protest to the Madhavachya town. Afterwards, the group blocked one lane of the A9 road and made their way to the Madhavachya Divisional Secretariat. The group protested opposite the office, and eventually the Divisional Secretary granted them an opportunity to discuss their issue.
මේ ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කාර්යාලය ඉස්සරහින් එක්කෙනෙක් හැප්පුණා අලියෙක්ගේ. ඒ වගේම පොලිසිය උසාවිය.
One person met with an accident involving a wild elephant opposite the divisional secretariat. The primary school is located next to the police station. Wild elephants roam around this area daily. Coconut plants were uprooted and destroyed by these elephants. This problem is worsening by the day. However, those in power have forgotten the problems the people face and are only focused on themselves.
Residents of many villages belonging to the Retigala Wildlife Zone in Kakiraba, Anuradhapura marched in protest to the Morogoda Wildlife Office in Retigala and continued their protest. The protesters demanded that an opportunity be granted for them to meet an officer who could provide a solution to their problems and have a discussion. Then they got the opportunity to have a discussion with an officer of the Wildlife Office.
මිනිස්සුන්ට වෙලා තියෙන දුක කියලා මිනිස්සුන්ට ඒකෙන් සහනයක් බලාපොරොත්තු. ඒකෝ සහනය අරන් දෙන්න ඔබතුමාලට 100ට එක ගානේ වගකීමක් තියෙනවා.
The higher authorities definitely need to get involved here. They do not give a definite solution. They just pass the responsibility to each other. There is a minister in charge of wildlife. He must be asleep in his office. They change ministers each year and the people do not get a solution to their problems.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe is set to depart the island tomorrow morning for an official visit to Singapore and Japan.
While in Singapore, he will meet with K. Shanmugam, the Law and Home Affairs Minister, along with high-ranking diplomats. The President's visit to Japan, scheduled from the 24th to the 27th of May, will include discussions with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on strengthening bilateral relations and addressing regional and international matters. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will also address the Nikkei Forum's 28th Future of Asia Conference in Tokyo on the 25th and 26th of May.
The 75th commemoration of Nakba Day of Palestine took place in Colombo.
The 75th anniversary of Nakba Day, organized by the Embassy of the State of Palestine in Colombo together with the Arab Ambassadors Council, took place in Colombo.
We have endured for 75 years to date, and it's still continuing. We still have the hope to reach our goals, to have our rights, to be free like all peoples of the world. No one can break us. We are a strong, resilient, and a proud nation. Keep your keen solidarity with us. I am sure you will be in the right side of history.
The Speaker of Parliament and the opposition leader also addressed the event.
Sri Lanka and the state of Palestine have enjoyed traditionally a warm and friendly relations right from the beginning. Sri Lanka has been supporting the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people to an independent, sovereign state based on relevant UN Security Council resolution.
We in Sri Lanka have always stood by the people of Palestine, and we are committed to Palestine achieving its statehood, and we accept Palestine as a legitimate nation state. Thousands and thousands of Palestinians have suffered through this horrendous situation, and all of us in the international community are responsible. We must be ashamed that we have not been able to shape a world order that is predicated upon the protection of human rights, civil liberties, democratic rights, freedom of speech. We as Sri Lankans have always and will continue to support the cause of the Palestinian people.
Diplomats, politicians, among others, were present for the event.
Sri Lanka and Bahrain have agreed to enhance social protection for workers.
Jamil bin Muhammad Ali Humaidan, Labour Minister of Kingdom of Bahrain, received Sri Lankan Ambassador to Bahrain, Ridhisiri Wijeratne Mendes, recently. The minister praised the Bahraini-Sri Lankan ties and highlighted Bahrain's ongoing commitment to develop the labour market according to International Labour Organization standards. Ambassador lauded the kingdom's efforts to safeguard the rights of the Sri Lankan workforce, especially the compassionate and holistic approach adopted by the government of Bahrain, ensuring the safety of Sri Lankan citizens and migrant workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. The meeting was concluded by both parties agreeing to review labour sector, exchange of expertise in human resource development and to enhance social protection for workers.
Here is a look at the exchange rates. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the selling price of the US dollar was 313 rupees and 82 cents. The buying rate of the US dollar was 299 rupees and 71 cents. The UK pound was selling at 391 rupees and 80 cents, while the euro was selling at 340 rupees and 79 cents. In more news, the LOLC Divisavya program that aims to support the education of Sri Lankan children took place centering the Batticaloa district today for the 33rd day.
School books and stationery equipment are being distributed to school children under the Divisavya program. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. On Monday, students from the Sigaram Shrimat Razik Farid Vidyalaya, Iravur Ayyan Karni Hizbullah Vidyalaya and Rugam Subair Hajiar Vidyalaya were given school books and stationery equipment. addition, the LOLC Divi Savaya program provided school books and stationery to students from the Puduma Muhatuvaram St. Ignatius Vidyalaya and the Kiran Kuram Dharmarathinam Vidyalaya. Another Divi Savaya program took place at the Navatkarni Shri Kannagi Vidyalaya, Arasadi Pillayar Kanishta Vidyalaya and St. Anne's Tamil Vidyalaya. The Divi Savaya program is being carried out to ensure a bright future for the children of Sri Lanka.
India is holding a key G20 tourism meeting in Kashmir amid heightened security and opposition from China.
The working group meeting is being held in Srinagar, the summer capital of the federally administered territory, from Monday to Wednesday. This is the biggest international event organized in the region since India scrapped its special status in 2019. Over 60 delegates from G20 member countries are expected to attend the event. The BBC has emailed India's foreign ministry for its response to China's statement. China, however, has said it will not attend, citing its firm opposition, quote, to hold any kind of G20 meetings in disputed territory, unquote. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday arrived in Papua New Guinea, marking the beginning of the second half of the three-nation visit and what is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the island country. Prime Minister Modi travelled to Papua New Guinea on a historic trip where he received a grand welcome from the island nation's Prime Minister James Marape. As the Indian Prime Minister landed in Papua New Guinea, the country's premier was at the airport to receive him and even appeared to touch his feet in the typical Indian way of showing respect to elders.
The new president of Sri Lanka Cricket, Shammi Silva, assumed duties earlier today.
During the Sri Lanka cricket elections held on Saturday, former SLC President Shammi Silva was elected uncontested as the president of Sri Lanka Cricket for the term 2023 to 2025. Shammi Silva officially commenced his duties after a ceremony held at the Sri Lanka Cricket headquarters. The ceremony was attended by Secretary of Sri Lanka Cricket Mohan De Silva, CEO of SLC Ashley De Silva, Treasurer of SLC Sujiva Godaliadda, and Vice Presidents Jayantha Dharmadasa and Ravin Vikramaratne.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Take care and have a great night.